Okay, so we are starting KC4D notes today. KC4D notes, it's not a review, well, a little bit of a review, right? Because we know how to graph equations. We've been knowing how to graph equations. But now we're going to be talking about inequalities. So it's going to change a little bit. 4D notes are also an introduction to your KC5 notes. So it's very important for you to understand KC4. Okay. Let's get started. We're gonna get started with just a quick review of how to get an equation of a line, okay? To get the equation of a line, we have to remember that the equation of a line is y equals mx plus b, okay? M is your slope, and b is your y-intercept, okay? So, to find the slope, that's the very first thing you need to do. You need to find the slope. The slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And you should know this by now. And if you don't, again, take out your pink and blue paper, the foldable that we did in class. That is your sheet for you to use whenever you want. So what is my y2? Well, you should know and remember that the points on the line, we always read them from left to right. So which comes first, from left to right? This point right here is first, so this has to be x1, y1, x2, y2. Every coordinate point is always going to be x and y, every coordinate point. So it's always an x and y. All you have to do is label which one is first and which one is second. Okay, so back to my equation, y2 is going to be 0 minus y1, which is negative 7. Alright, and I messed that up. I should have put that negative parentheses negative 7. There you go. Alright, over x2 minus x1. So I have 0 minus negative 7, which gives me positive 7. 4 minus 0, which gives me 4. Can I divide 7 divided by 4? No, I can't. So I found my slope. I know m is slope. You should know this. Okay? So m is slope, so I'm just going to substitute m for 7 over 4. X and y stay the same. We don't know it. Alright, to figure my b is the y-intercept where your line is crossing through the y. This is my y line. This line right here is my y. And this is the line in red is my line. So where is it crossing at? At this point right here. But they already gave you the coordinate point for that one. It's not negative 6, it's negative 7. And remember, x equals 0. When x equals 0, we have our y. So my answer is y equals 7 over 4x minus 7. Okay? Again, we should know how to do this. It's a little bit a review of what we have done over the past. So try the next one on your own. Alright, now we are graphing inequalities. Graphing inequalities is the same thing as an equation. The only thing that changes, right, is the symbol sign. We're not writing equals anymore. We're not writing this one anymore. We are either writing the greater than, less than, greater than or equal, less than or equal to symbol. But everything else stays the same, right? Y mx plus b. Alright, so the first step to graph inequality is that you need to find the slope and the y-intercept. Okay, the next step is the little paper I gave you guys. Okay, step 2, you need to figure out if it's going to be solid or dash or dotted. I like to call it dash or dotted. Alright, solid lines look like a solid line, straight line, right? Dotted or dash look like this. There's space between them. Alright? If your line is solid, the symbol that you are using is the greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. Notice how they have that equal on the bottom. It looks like a solid line, right? So that's how I remember that those symbols represent solid. Dash and dotted are greater than or less than symbols. Okay? After after you figure out the line, what kind of symbols you're gonna use, you're gonna go to step 3. You're gonna have to do if it shades up or down. All right. If it shapes up, that means you were talking that it's greater. If we shade down, it's less. So the symbols that are greater is that greater than or equal to or greater than, right? The one that's less is less than or equal to or less. Okay, those are the symbols. So these are the steps to graph inequalities. It will make sense when we start the very first one. So let's go to our first one so you guys could get started and start practicing the steps. As that tells us to determine the linear inequality. That's how I know it's going to be an inequality. And you should know and start noticing that when we graph inequalities, the graphs are always shaded. When we graph an equation, all we have is a straight line, right? We have the line and that's it. With inequalities, we have shaded parts, okay? The first thing I told you to do is to find the slope and the y-intercept. So you're always going to write y mx plus b. I leave the middle by itself because I am not writing the equal equation anymore. I'm going to wait to see what symbol I'm going to use. Okay, so the first thing, slope. How do I find slope? Again, it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Alright, so slope is y2 over 1 minus y1, over x2 minus x1. Again, you start with the left side, right? From the left side of the graph. So starting from here, if I go this way, which point am I going to touch first? This one. That means that this is x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, so y2 is negative 6 minus 0 over x2, which is 0, minus x1, which is negative 3. All right, after that, negative 6 minus 0 gives me negative 6. All right, and 0 minus negative 3 gives me positive 3. I could divide this. Negative 6 divided by 3 gives me 2. So I know my slope is 2. So y stays the same. My slope is going to be 2. X stays the same. And I need to figure out my b plus what or minus what, right? B is where the line crosses through the y. Again, this is my y, and they tell you this is y. This line right here is y. Where's my black line crossing that blue line? Right here. Okay, so that's going to be negative 6. There you go, I have my equation. Y 2x minus x. All I have to do is identify the symbol that's going to be in the middle. Okay, step 2, remember? I told you, you need to figure out if the line is going to be solid or dotted. The line is solid, right? It's not dashed. So that means that I'm either using the greater than or less than or equal to symbol. Remember the ones that have the equal sign. I mean solid. One of those two symbols I'm going to use. All right, from the y. So from the y-intercept, from this point right here, I'm always going to make arrows. Okay, the arrows is going to help me identify where am I going to shape. Y always goes up and down. You should know this already. Okay, so I'm going to make an arrow that goes up and an arrow that goes down. Which arrow is the shaded part? Well, you should know that the gray part is down. So then there you go. That means that my graph is going down. Okay, it's less. It's going down, so it's less. Which symbol is that? The less than or equal to. That means that this is my inequality. Y is less than or equal to 2x minus 6. Okay? So, hopefully we understand it. Alright? Let's try another one just to make sure. This one, they'll give you coordinate points. You are in charge of doing that. We should know how to do this already. We learned this in KC2. Alright? You pick the clear points. As of right now, I see clear points where they cross the black lines. You see that? The red crosses to 2 points on my black lines. All right, so I'm going to use those 2 points. This point is 0 and what is that? 4. All right, The next one, I have 2 and 0. Okay? You should remember that coordinate points is always x and y. First, you move left and right, and then up and down. That's how I figure out. So from here, I didn't move left or right. I started from 0 and I just moved up. That's why it's 0 and 4. Alright, the next one, I have 2 to the right, which is 2, but I did not move it up, so that's why it's 0 for y. Alright, the first thing, find slope and y-intercept. Remember, I told you everything else stays the same. The only thing that you're going to leave blank is the middle part. We're not going to put an equal sign. So we're going to wait to put the symbol. Alright, we need to find the slope. So m equals y2 minus y1. And yes, it gets tiring and boring to keep writing this. But trust me, if you don't write it, you're going to get confused. Okay, so again, from left to right. So if I go from left to right, which point is going to go first? This point right here. So this is going to be x1, y1, x2, y2. All right, y2 is 0 minus 4 over 2 minus 0. I get negative 4 over 2, and I get negative 2. That means that my slope is negative 2. X and y stay the same. All I have to figure out is my b. And again, how do I figure out b? Where my y, this is my y, crosses through my line. So my line is the red line, okay? Where's it crossing? You can see this right here. So my y is going to be positive 4. All right, next, I need to figure out what kind of symbol am I going to use. But first of all, I need to figure out if it's going to be dashed or solid. I see that my line is dashed or dotted, right? I told you to use both words, okay? So it's dotted. That means I'm going to use the less than or greater than symbols. No, not the ones with the equal ones, okay? So these are the ones that are solid. The ones that have no equal sign on the bottom. All right. And next, we just have to figure out what's gonna happen. We're gonna shade up or down, okay? And I told you, you start from the y-intercept and you draw an arrow that goes up and an arrow that goes down. Which one was shaded? You should see that the shaded one is the one that goes up. So that means that the y is greater. When it goes up, is greater. This symbol is the greater symbol. So there you go. Y is greater than negative 2x plus 4. That's how I write the inequality. Can you guys try the next two, okay? The next two, again, you have to write your own coordinate points. Pick the points that are very clear, okay? And then find slope, find the y-intercept, and then decide which symbol you're going to use. All right, we've been finding the inequalities. And every time we find the inequalities, we have a slope, right? Because the slope tells you how much is it changing by, how much am I going to go up and down. However, you should notice that these lines are constant. We're not going to have a slope. All we're going to have is either an x-intercept or a y-intercept. Again, how do I find y-intercept? When the line crosses through the y-axis. So if that's for y, the x means that the line crosses through the x-axis, okay? For instance, this problem number 3a, the dashed line is crossing through the x or the y, and you should see carefully, look. This is the x and this is the y. It crosses through the x. So that means I'm using the letter x. And again, my line is dashed. That means that the lines that I'm using are either the greater than or less than symbols, okay? When we shade for x, you go right and left. When you go to the right, you're going towards the positive number. So that means that you're going greater. You're increasing. That means bigger. If you go to the left, you go into the negative numbers. That means that it's going down. Okay, so it's less. From the line, from the dash line, okay, we shake to the right or to the left. Well, you should notice that you shake to the right. That means that the x is going to be greater. The number I'm going to put here is the number that it's crossing through, so it has to be -2. So there you go. Y is greater than -2. And again, I don't have a slope for this because my 9 is constant. Let's try the next one. Okay, the next one. We are looking at a dash line, right? So we know we're going to use either the greater than or less than symbols. We know that the line is also crossing through which line? The y or the x? Again, this is the x and this is the y. The blue dash line is crossing through which one? Y. So it's going to be y, and it's crossing through one number, 3. Is they going up? Remember from the point, is they going up or down? And you can see that the shaded part was with the up arrow. That means that it's greater. It's going up. So y is greater than 3. Can you guys try the next one? Alright, here comes the best part of target ordinate note. Okay? Nothing new, nothing new. So don't freak out. This is what we did in target 3D graphs, okay? So it tells you the function rule W equals 25G plus 500 represents the total weight, right, in pounds of a container that contains G gallons for a certain liquid. What is a reasonable graph of the function given that the capacity of the container is 80 gallons? All right, graph the situation, correct the axis, the scale, and include 2 points. So in order for you to get 3 points, you need to do all those 3. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is label the axis, okay? Well, first of all, we need to understand what's going on. I'm just rewriting the equation here so I can see it better and bigger, okay? So, W equals 25G plus 500. This looks exactly like my equation, okay? Y represents W, my X represents G, my slope is 25, my B, which is my y-intercept, is 500. Okay, so there you go. All you have to do is label the y and label the x. What is represented by y, is W. What does W mean? The total weight. That is going to be my y. Okay, x is represented by G. G means the gallon. Okay, so we label the axis, that's good. Now we have to draw the scale. The scale is the numbers that you're going to put on the x-axis, the numbers that you're going to put on the y-axis. All right, the first thing that you should notice is that B represents your starting point. Know this already. B is the y-intercept. When x equals 0, y is going to equal 500. There you go. When x equals 0, I'm going to have a starting point of 500. I already know the first point. How many points do I need? 2 points. All I need is one more point. Okay, well, do we know how many gallons are we going to go? I really don't know, but they told you that the capacity of the container is 80 gallons. That means that the container cannot hold more than 80 gallons. It has to be less than 80, okay? So there you go. The most it could be is 80. So that means I could go from 0 to 80. So I'm going to do 20, 40, 60, 80, and 100. Okay, I went by 20s. Okay, if I have 80 gallons, how many total weight am I going to have? I do not know, but remember, X is the input. If I put 80 gallons in here, what is going to be my output? How much weight am I going to have? Okay, so all you have to do is plug into the equation and have W equals 25 gallons, which I told you was 80 plus 500. So 25 times 80 gives me 2,000 plus 500 gives me a total weight of 2,500. Okay? So that means that when I have 80 gallons, my total weight is 2,500. That means that my total weight has to go to 2,500. I have enough space to keep going by 500, sorry. So I'm gonna keep adding 500 every time. So now I'm gonna have 1,500, 2,000, 2,500. Okay, there you go. When I have 80 gallons, I'm gonna have 2,500. This is the second point. All right, and all you have to do is connect your points, the first one with the second one. That's my line, that's my graph, and I'm done. All I have to do is that, graph it. Okay, again, it's up to you how you want to label these scales. If you want to go by tens, you can. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, however you want. Okay? Here on the y-axis, if you wanted to go by 400, by 300, by 100, it does not matter. Just make sure that it fits on the graph. Okay? I noticed I had enough space to keep going by a 500, so that's what I did. Right? Try the next one. Alright, and the very last one, okay? The last one is graph an inequality, okay? Inequality graphs again have to be shaded. If your graph is not shaded, then it's wrong. You're not writing an equation. You are graphing an inequality. Okay, so it says a fish market charges $9 per pound for cod and 12 per pound for flounder. Let X be the number of pounds of cod. Let Y be the number of pounds of flounder. They must reach a daily quota of at least 120. Okay, there you go. It says at least 120. Alright, so that's how much I'm starting, 120. The symbol I'm going to use is, well, if it tells you that at least, that means that that's the least. It has to be less. Remember? My symbol less, least, okay? Everything else has to be greater, so it's gonna be $9 per pound for cod, and they told you right here, X is the number of pounds per cod. We don't know how many pounds, so it's gonna be X, okay? Plus $12 per pound for flounder. Look at this, Y is the number of pounds of flounder. So Y represents the number of pounds of flounder. There you go. And you have your equation. That's the first thing you want to do. Write the inequality. If you cannot write the inequality, we can graph it. Okay? The next step that you want to do is label your X and Y. This is my Y. This is my X. And guess what? They already told you. Look. X is the number of pounds of cod. So X is going to be the pound of cod. Y, they tell you the number of pounds of flounder. Alright, and next, the difference between this and the y-intercept, or the one with mx plus b, is that they don't give you the y-intercept, they don't give you the starting point. You need to figure out the starting point, but we already know that our starting point is always going to be 0. And notice how 0 is on the x-axis. That means that when we have 0 pounds of cod, I'm trying to figure out how many pounds of flounder. Again, 0 is x. All you have to do is go back to your equation and plug it in and solve it. 9x equals 0. That's what I'm starting with. That's my starting point. I need to figure out y. Okay, 9 times 0 gives me 0, so I have left 12y, right? right? This cancels out. 9 times 0 is 0. All you have to do is get y by itself. And this is all review from KZ1, okay? To get y by itself, you need to do division. You need to divide by 12. So 10 is going to be less than or greater than y. That means when we have 0 pounds of cotton, I'm going to have 10 on the y. That should give you a clue where to start. I have enough space to go one by one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. I'm just going to 12. Doesn't mean I'm going to use it. So when it's 0, I have 10. That's my starting point. Okay? To make a line, you always need 2 points. So I need to figure out another point. And then whatever you put the scale for the y, does the same scale you're using for the x. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. To pick the next point, you can pick whatever number you want, whatever, it does not matter. For my video today, I am gonna pick 8, okay? So if I have 8, how many pounds of plunder, right? All I have to do again, do the same thing I did for 0, but now instead of 0, I'm gonna write 8. 9 times 8 gives me 72 plus 12y. Everything else stays the same. Again, this is all review from KZ1. You need to do like terms first. I cannot do anything with 12y yet, but I could do something with a 120 and 72. Okay, I need to get rid of 172. So to get rid of it, I need to subtract. This is the positive. We do the opposite. Okay, so 120 minus 72 gives me 42. Everything else stays the same. To get y by itself now, I could divide and I get 4 for y. That means when I have 8 pounds of cod, I'm going to have 4 of plunder. 8, 4. See that? So this is my second point. After that, all I have to do is connect my point. Okay? And am I done? No, I'm not done because I told you inequalities. And how do I know it's inequality? They tell you, and we use an equality symbol. So to grab inequality, we need to shade. You need to focus on the y variable. Look at y. Y is on this side. And what does the symbol tell me? That this side is what? Big or less? You should already know that the open space of my little mouth here is going to be big. This side is always big. That's what it's telling me. So y is on this side. That means that y is going to be big. It's going to be bigger. To shade bigger, you shade up and down. You should know you always shade up. Okay, so everything that's above that line is shaded. It's greater. Y is greater. Okay, now I'm done. I have my label the axis, right? I label the axis. I put the scale and I shade it properly. Okay? So please try the next one. If you have questions, if you still do not understand the video, please come see me, right? It's very important that you understand this. This is exactly what we're going to see in KC5, okay? So if you don't understand it, please come see me. Alright, hope you guys like the video and hopefully it helped.